He spoke to Pat McAfee about a great many things, including the criticism about him. Listen to this.
I don't care about that stuff. It doesn't offend me. I mean, this culture, this woke culture wants to be offended by everything. You just go online and find something you don't agree with. I'm offended. How could you possibly say that?
Yes.
I don't really care. I don't care who it's coming from or who said it. They're entitled to their opinion. It might not be right. And every now and then you got to get on here and say, hey, you found some like, that's just not true. Like, let's just tone it back a little bit. You might need to do that. Most of the time, you just kind of gloss over it. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. Because it honestly doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my day-to-day. It doesn't interrupt my whale-watching time. It doesn't interrupt me at all during the day. I don't think, agonize about, like, Gronk said, I shouldn't be worrying about MVPs. I'm like, I know Gronk. I love Gronk. He's awesome. He's fun energy to be around.
I completely agree with Rodgers' first point, guys, where
Max,
when he talks about people are just looking for something to be offended.
Of course they are.
The issue I have with people who, and we're gonna hear more from Rodgers, but the issue I have with people who use the word, say, woke as an umbrella to mean anyone who objects to anything, or wants to address anything that's happened in the past or wants to make anything fair. The objection I have to that is separate from like, to those people who would use that word that way, is separate from the idea that, yes, by and large as a culture, we are trying to be offended, and that social media exacerbates it because you send out a tweet or people get to react to a tweet and it's a little shot of righteous indignation. They get to be offended for a second and someone gets canceled and then it doesn't mean anything to them, really. They just move on with their lives. So I get what Rodgers is saying, man, where everyone's looking to be offended, and so he doesn't sweat that. But let's not lump that in with, like, people who are legitimately like, hold on, man, what used to happen's not okay. You're doing something that's not okay. Right? He's responding to people who are like, he's like, really, what am I doing to offend you? I get that.
I've been, Max, I played professional sports, obviously in college. I'm with Aaron Rodgers, though. It doesn't affect my everyday life, man.
Right.
I've been the same way. You keep on talking crazy and this and that and doesn't do anything. Whale watching, I've never sat and really watched whales, maybe only once, but that's interesting.
You've never been whale watching?
Yeah, I said only once. I'm not like, yes. He made it sound like he goes whale watching every other day.
Yeah.
He say like
luxury,
maybe.
Dog. He may have that luxury.
I've been watching 3 times.
You just, when you him and you've done some things in the past over the last several years, people are going to take certain sort of exception to it. And they're going to feel a certain way, whether it's right or wrong. The good thing that I like about him is if he's truly not paying attention to it. If he's truly not paying attention to it. It's one thing to say you're not paying attention to it, and it's another to really, like me, I know I'm not. I look at it like I look at it, but it doesn't affect me. I'm going to go have fun. I'm still going where I need to go. I'm not going to be like, oh, man, they think, and I can care less. I really can.
You see, for me, it's we live in a world in which we pick apart everything. It's in particular media and social media. Social media is another level to media, right? So there will be a certain element of people that today, the only word that they'll hear from that soundbite is woke, and they'll react. A complete reaction off of woke instead of actually listening to what Aaron Rodgers says, right? Because that's the world that we live in. So for me, it's like yesterday when I said, hey, like, I think what the Dallas Cowboys did was whack, I did read the article. People are like, oh, Jay, you're not even, you always talk about context. You didn't read the article. No, actually, I did read the article. But I also have a different perspective because I've been in that locker room. 99% of people in this country have not been in that type of locker room. And I also have been raised with social media to a degree, so I see how it affects certain players in this generation. So when I hear Aaron Rodgers talk about this stuff doesn't affect me, I hope that is his truth because it shouldn't affect him.
Absolutely.
And just like Keith said, like, at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their opinion about you, man. But ain't everybody walking in your shoes? Ain't everybody going on that field and trying to make the plays and trying to win the championships or understand what comes along that lifestyle? So they may not agree with everything that you say, but they have no insight to what life you actually live.
He went on to talk about Gronk's comments specifically. The fact that he wants to win MVP, he should be focused on Super Bowls. And you mentioned woke. I don't know that he said it in that first clip. I think he says it now. Listen, and I mentioned it also. listen to Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show talking about the fact that he wants to win MVP.
Everybody wants to win MVP. Everybody who plays the game wants to be MVP. Like, yeah, you want to win a championship, 100%. Like, you want to go down in history on a championship football team. But everybody wants to win MVP too, any sport. You want to be recognized as the best of the best. Anyone who says they don't is lying or non-competitive. And either one of those, I don't want to be a part of.
Facts.
Say it in that clip either. But
So he should have said this last week. He should have just said this last week. See, now that's the problem that I have, because you didn't say it last week, and he is correct about everything he said. Yes, you want to win an MVP. There's no question about it. I wish I could have won the MVP. It didn't happen. I won a Super Bowl. I'll take that all day long. I wish I could have got one with that one. I wish I could have got another Super Bowl and another and another and another and another. But if he'd have said that last week, Jay, we wouldn't have spent 2 days talking about what he said on the Pat McAfee show that he appeared on again.
Yeah, but Key, we spent 2 days because it's Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, no,
and people tried to pivot
Yes.
that comment into the fact that, like, he doesn't want to win championships. I'm like, come on, man.
Well,
we're
he
really
didn't
going to sit up here.
say it, though.
Yeah, but Key, you and
You
I
know how it is. It's about what you say.
Key, there's a lot of days I want to be the best of the best of what I do. Just because I don't say it doesn't mean that's not the case that particular day. Like, do I just need to repeat it every time I talk into the microphone? I want to be the best. I want to win championships.
Well, when you put MVP in front of championship,
yeah, but
people
Key,
gonna break it down, Jay.
But that goes back to my original point, Pete.
Yeah,
Key.
I understand.
People are gonna find something to be angry at you about.
I never felt that he didn't want to win a championship. What I said is he could have addressed it differently, and he wouldn't have had the same sort of energy thrown at him by many people if he would have just said, like he just said. What if we took that same clip that he did, whatever that was, that little 30-second bite, took that and applied it to a week ago when he was on the Pat McAfee show?
I hear you, though, Key, but in that same bite, though, because that bite was the one that was being played, he also talked about how much he valued his teammates on the back end of it. So it all depends on how that bite is being constructed, though.
Think about it, Coach. We never talked about whether or not he valued his teammates.
I tried to talk about it.
No,
But
I'm
Jay,
saying
when the criticism
that's not
came
the
out,
point. The
he could
point
have
ain't got
responded
nothing to do with valuing his teammates.
And also, the criticism is not going to come before he makes the comment. As Key points out, he made the comment, then comes the criticism. Now you got to respond. And
Now you got to
Why
respond.
do I have to respond?
Because when you take too long to respond, you're going to
Well, he
respond
doesn't have to
eventually.
respond. He didn't have to.
But that goes back to my original point about what Aaron Rodgers just said, though, Max. Like, I'm not worried about your interpretation of how I think or what I say in every single word, especially when it's a 20-second soundbite. You're not even using the whole clip to understand what exactly I was even saying. You're just reacting off a quick soundbite.
But he didn't address that part, Jay. What he addressed was the idea that he shouldn't talk MVP because it betrays that he really wants it. And his point now is everyone wants it.
Yes.
If anyone's, it's like, but he should have said that once the criticism came out immediately. If you're going to say that anyway, don't wait a week because then the media cycle keeps going.
Well, he's
and
only,
then you
but
address it.
I think he had to wait a week because his appearances.
I mean, he could, but he could say whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Right. I mean, why are you laughing, Jay?
But
right. I mean, I think he does it once a week.
Yeah,
correct?
weekly appearance, yeah.
My
Yeah,
point
so he had to
is
wait.
about that. When you take too long to respond, the feeling people have intuitively is, yes, that sounds authentic what you're saying, but you had to construct that. It took you several days to suss that out and figure it out to say
Well,
it
see,
in
that's
that
that.
way.
But see, Max,
that's exactly
a
what
lot
I'm talking
right
about,
there, though,
Keith.
Max.
That's media
but
right there.
That is why I said people intuitively feel when you take too long that it's not as authentic. That's not. I mean, that's
that
media.
is correct.
That is my interpretation. That's my analysis.
There's nothing wrong with your interpretation. Yeah. I get it. That you're right there. That's why I go back to saying, if you put championship and MVP packaged up all together like he just did originally, we wouldn't even be having a second conversation or a second run at it. He shouldn't care about what nobody says because I don't give a damn what somebody say about me, and he should feel the same way.
Aaron Rodgers, before you say anything, just always make sure you lead with it's all about winning championships and then get to your point.
I would say every 5 seconds
Jay,
or
what
so
do you think
should
about
say
what do
the
you
word
think?
championship.
How beautiful
just
of a
to be
day
fair.
is it? You know, I just want to win championships. It's a beautiful day outside the clouds.
Championships?
Come on, man.
Every 5 seconds,
Come
championships.
on.
Hey,
Where's
man.
the perfect spot where's the perfect landing spot for Aaron Rodgers? Keyshawn, J. Will the Max, ESPN Radio.
Hey, man.
Hey, it's Greeny, and then there were 4. Kansas City and Cincinnati on one side of the bracket. The 49ers and Eagles on the other. No better week to talk football, and we'll be doing it all week long with you.